Most people walk up to me and ask for the secret to making massive wealth overnight. I give them the cold, hard truth. But honestly, nobody ever wants to believe me. They want the shortcut. They want the magic button, and they want the virtual cow that poops gold. Well, today we are talking about a guy who actually tried to sell that dream to over 100,000 people. Meet the Turkish rapper turned international fugitive who managed to pull off one of the most insane heists in modern history. He did not hack a bank. He did not rob a vault. He just understood exactly how to exploit human greed. The story starts with a guy named Mehmet Aydin, who was basically a dishwasher who had a side hobby as a struggling YouTube rapper. He called himself Ego Man, which honestly should have been the first red flag for anyone with a brain. In 2016, he launched an app called FarmBank. It looked like a cheap mobile game, cute cows, happy chickens, colorful sheep, but the pitch was genius. He told people that their real money was being used to fund real agricultural projects in the real world. He promised them returns, he promised them dividends, and he promised them that they were helping to modernize the Turkish farming industry. People ate it up. They did not see a scam. They saw an investment opportunity that felt modern and tech-driven. He was so bold that he opened actual physical show farms. He invited people to come and look at the cows. He showed them the branding in real stores. And that is the psychological trick. Once you give people something physical to look at, their critical thinking just evaporates. They stopped thinking about the math and started thinking about the profit. At its peak, over 100,000 people deposited somewhere between $130 million and $300 million. It was a classic Ponzi scheme. The early investors were paid off by the money coming in from the new recruits. It felt like magic. The users were getting paid. They were telling their friends, and the whole thing was spiraling into a massive disaster. But then, reality had to catch up. Late 2017, the payments started to slow down. The system was running out of new suckers, and the moment people tried to get their cash out, the whole house of cards began to wobble. When the pressure hit, Mehmet did what every scammer does. He grabbed the bag and he ran. He fled the country, and for 3 years, he lived like a fugitive. He was spotted driving a bright red Ferrari in Uruguay, which is just the most ridiculous way to lay low. If you are going to steal over $100 million, maybe do not drive the loudest car in the country. It is the financial equivalent of a pilot jumping out of a crashing plane with the only parachute. Eventually, the law caught up, or rather, he got bored of running and turned himself in. He surrendered in Brazil and was sent back to Turkey to face the music. And here is the part that drives me crazy. The audacity of this guy. While facing tens of thousands of years in prison, he gave interviews talking about how much he liked the prison food. He compared his cell to an Airbnb. He talked about his tea and his coffee. He even argued that the word bank in his company name meant a park bench. I am not making this up. He actually tried to tell a judge that he was talking about wooden furniture. In the end, the court sentenced him and his brother to over 45,000 years in prison. That is not a punishment. That is a math equation that does not even make sense. But let us talk about the real cost. Not for him, but for the people who believed him. Think about the hours you spend working to earn $1. If you earn $20 an hour, $100 million is 5 million hours of human life. 5 million hours of people waking up, grinding, and saving, all gone because of a mobile app. People lost their life savings. They lost their retirement. They lost their peace of mind. And for what? A virtual cow that never existed. The lesson here is simple. If an investment feels like a game, it probably is. If someone promises you consistent returns in an industry you do not understand, run the other way. Most people think they are smarter than the market. But the market is just a collection of human behaviors. And human behavior is incredibly predictable. When you dangle a shiny object in front of it, do not fall for the hype, do not fall for the branding, and for the love of everything, do not invest in virtual livestock. The only way to build wealth is through patience, boredom, and the slow compounding of real assets. Everything else is just a pyramid scheme waiting to collapse on your head. Stop looking for the magic, stop looking for the rapper with the big ego, and start looking at your own bank statement. Wealth is not a game you play on your phone. Wealth is a life you build with your own 2 hands. You see, the problem with schemes like FarmBank is that they weaponize your own desire for a better life. They come into neighborhoods where the economy is struggling, where people are desperate for a way out, and they package greed as innovation. They call it technology. They call it the future of agriculture. It is the same playbook that every crypto rug pull uses, the same nonsense we saw in the peak of the speculative mania. They tell you that the banks are failing you, that the system is broken, and that this new platform is the answer. But ask yourself, where is the value actually being created? In a real business, you sell a product or a service. You have overhead, you have labor costs, you have taxes. In a scheme like this, the only thing being produced is a sense of urgency. They want you to hurry. They want you to invest before you miss out. They want you to FOMO your way into a hole. And because it is on an app, it feels detached from reality. It feels like play money. But when you hit that button to transfer your funds, That is real life that you are trading away. Think about the time you spent at your job to get that money. Think about the sacrifices you made to set it aside. And then think about giving it to a guy named Ego Man who is rapping on the internet. It sounds like a dark comedy, but the tragedy is very real. 100,000 people were not just playing a game. They were looking for a miracle. But miracles do not come with an App Store download. They do not come with a celebrity endorsement. They do not come with the promise of passive income on a phone screen. Financial security is the most boring thing on this planet. It is setting aside a portion of your income. It is putting it into assets that have stood the test of time. It is watching your money grow at a pace that is barely visible to the naked eye. It is being patient while your friends get rich quick on the next big scam, and then watching them lose it all when the bubble bursts. The math of the farm bank scam is actually quite simple if you take the time to run it. You have a fixed number of participants, and the returns being promised are exponential. There is no physical farm on earth that can pay out those kinds of dividends consistently if the yield is higher than the market, if it is guaranteed, and if it is easy. It is a lie. It is always a lie. There are no exceptions to this rule. I have spent years looking at financial disasters, and the pattern is always the same. The scammer gains trust. They build a facade. They show off the fancy cars and the lifestyle. They make you believe that you are part of an exclusive club, and then they take everything. So why do we keep falling for it? Why do we want to believe that there is a shortcut? Maybe it is because the grind is hard. Maybe it is because we feel like the world is unfair. Maybe we think that if we just find the right loophole, we can finally breathe easy. But the loophole is the trap. The loophole is the bait. You want to be smart, then you have to be willing to be the person who says no. You have to be the person who says, I do not understand this business model, so I am not putting my money in it. You have to be the person who realizes that your reputation and your savings are worth more than any potential gain from a scheme you do not control. Mehmet Aydin did not invent the scam. He just modernized it for a generation that lives on their phones. He turned a Ponzi scheme into a game, and he exploited the fact that people hate to do the math. He relied on the fact that you would rather dream about the rewards than analyze the risks. But the risks are always there. They are hidden in plain sight. The lack of transparency, the inability to withdraw, the vague explanations about where the money is going. These are the sirens singing to you. And if you listen to them, you are going to crash. So what should you do instead? You should build a life that does not need a magic app to make you rich. You should develop skills that are valuable. You should manage your expenses so that you are not desperate for a quick win. You should learn how to read a financial statement. You should learn how to understand what a business actually does. If you cannot explain how a company makes its money in one sentence, do not invest in it. It is a simple rule, but it will save you your entire life savings. I am tired of seeing people get hurt by these grifters. I am tired of the stories about retired people losing their homes because they thought they found the next big thing. But until we stop chasing the magic, there will always be another Mehmet Aydin. There will always be another guy with an ego and a plan to take your money. So be the person who asks the hard questions. Be the person who demands the proof. And if the person cannot give you the proof, walk away. There is no reward for being the first person into a fraud. There is only the possibility of being the last person to lose your money. Stay grounded, stay curious, and keep your wallet safe. The world of finance is full of sharks, and they are always looking for a reason to bite. Do not give them one. Your money is the result of your time, your energy, and your effort. Do not let anyone take that from you. When you look back on your 20s, you want to remember building something real. You want to remember the times you stayed the course when everything else was screaming at you to pivot. You want to be the person who owns their own future, not the one who gambled it away on a virtual farm. Financial independence is not a race. It is a steady walk, and you are going to get there, but only if you avoid the traps set for the greedy. If you feel that pull to jump into something that sounds too good, stop, take a breath. Look at your bank account and remember the story of the guy who went to prison for 45,000 years. That is the price of trying to cheat the system. The system has a way of balancing itself out, but it usually comes at the expense of those who try to game it. I want you to win. I want you to be wealthy, but I want you to do it the right way, the boring way, the slow way, the way that nobody makes a movie about, because at the end of the day, your peace of mind is worth more than any amount of money you could ever lose. And once you lose your peace of mind, there is no amount of wealth that can buy it back. So keep your head clear, keep your eyes on the long term, and do not let the noise distract you. There will be 1,000 opportunities to lose your money, but there is only one way to keep it, and that is by making smart, deliberate decisions every single day. You are the CEO of your own life. Start acting like it, cut the distractions, ignore the get-rich-quick schemes, and focus on the fundamentals. The world is noisy. The internet is full of scammers. And the pressure to succeed is intense, but you do not have to give in to that pressure. You can choose to be different. You can choose to be the one who builds rather than the one who plays. You can choose to be the one who understands rather than the one who believes. That is the secret, and it has been the secret for a long time. Nobody wants to hear it, but those who listen are the ones who actually make it. So go out there and build your own life, brick by brick, dollar by dollar. Do not let the virtual cows lead you off a cliff. Stay boring. Stay patient. Peace.